Hello everybody, this is Lila in Hawaii. I've been doing a bunch of different things lately, and I was seized by the idea of writing. I love poetry, I love to read, I love making my own poetry, and I love to read other people's poetry. And so I like to use words in my work, and I thought instead of printing off a whole bunch of words for this particular book I'm making, I would write words instead. So here are some samples of some sayings that I've written, or phrases or sentiments. This one says, "This above all, to thine own self be true." And that was William Shakespeare's quote. I love that. That's an old one for me. And I wanted to show you really how I do them, because here's one I just did, and it's not attached to anything. I put a couple of stamps there, and you'll see that the fabrics I use are pretty light. They're pretty flimsy. It's very hard to write on that, so I thought I would just show you my trick. But meantime, I'll just show you some more I did. I tore a page out of an old French book, and then I wrote something about days gone by. What did I say? "In days gone by, the ladies did so sweetly beguile." So I wrote that at the bottom. This is on fabric, and I've sort of collaged it together. So this would be a book page or something like that. And then I'm making another one of my lace books. So this is the cover of one of my lace books that I'm just about completed. So I thought I'd show you what I was doing. These are some pages I've done. And then these are some flip-flops, or whatever those are called. But on this page, I had this embroidered fabric. This is old fabric. And I liked the idea of the flowers there. However, I didn't want them to be too prominent. So I thought, well, I would cover them over where you could peek underneath. And so this is what I did. I wrote... This is Robert Frost, a poem, and there it is there. So it's quite large, and I won't go over it, but one of the things that I was going to say is, if it has the author's name, I try and add that. If it's anonymous, that's kind of better for me, because then I don't have to write the author's name. But if I just take out some stanzas or something from the poem, I don't do that. I feel like most of the people that write these things, that it's out of copyright, really. I hope, anyway. So anyhow, I thought I would attach that to this page, and then you can pull that back and you can see that there's something under there. And then I'm going to fold that up with a paper clip, so that's another page. And then it goes on, and I haven't finished all these pages. But I just wanted to show you how I would insert it, maybe. Now, the other thing I like to do is I like to get quotes and poems off the internet, but sometimes, I have to sit at the internet and write. And that's not always easiest for me, the way my setup is. I happen to have a lot of little, I call them little treasure books. This one's was really a card, but it has all little phrases and verses of friendship. It's given to me by a daughter, and so I often use something like that. I was in Starbucks one day, and this is years ago, and they had a book of poems from far off lands. I don't know if you've ever seen that. I have a copy. It's absolutely wonderful for quotes. Here's another little book. This was actually, this was a book of postcards, but there are quotes throughout. There are pictures of poems and houses in the background, English cottages, and quotes. I like that one. And you can even get smaller ones. This was a little gift book, Faithful Friends, and this one has cute little poems and quotes and things. And you can really pretty much find whatever the subject is. I don't like them to be too sentimental and I certainly don't like them to be preaching. I see that a lot. I don't like to be preached at. I like them uplifting, and yes, a little spirit is good. Spiritual is good. I think there's one. I may show you how I write that. It says, "What sweet delight a quiet life affords." And that's William H. Drummond. So I'll see if I can do anything with that one. Anyway, the first thing is to stabilize the fabric. So what I do is I pick up a piece of cardstock, and I have these glue sticks that supposedly are wrinkle-free, and they are wrinkle-free. They're great. So I stabilize the fabric by putting the glue stick down. In this case, I tore a quarter of an old linen hanky that I had tea dyed. It's very pretty. So I'll just put that there, and then I make sure I've smoothed it out pretty good. And of course, this can be removed. It's just a substrate, you might say. And then I use different pens. I find that the Pigma is one of the best ones, or it's a micron, and this is a 0.8 size. It's not the finest. I noticed that their numbering is really strange, but anyway, I don't know if you can see. I don't like to do too fine because I find that sometimes it will catch in the threads. And after I've talked about all that, I want to say that I don't have the nicest handwriting in the world, and I often will print because, I'm going to put that there, because I don't think that really matters. I think if it's personal, and you've done it, it means a lot more than something that's printed off the computer. So let's see, this says, "What sweet delight" is the first. What? G-H-T. And if you mess up on the spelling, it makes you mad because you've ruined it. And there's no correcting. Now, I've had carpal tunnel syndrome. I can't even feel holding. My hand is still numb. So, anyway, but I'm just showing you. And this is not anywhere near my best. So anyway, the first is, "What sweet delight a quiet life affords." A quiet life F-O-R-D-S. So that's it, and it's not great. I'm sorry. It's not great. But then I go back sometimes and I'll make it this a little more fancy, the W, and I didn't get the S through properly there. And then I'll finish off sweet with a little thing there. I just go through it and I sort of try and not embellish it, but make it look a little better. And let's see, I'll do that. So, anyway, then I'll often put quote marks, whatever you call those. And then this one was William H. Drummond, and I try and write, or print that, I should say, so I can make it smaller. There you go. So William, so that's it. And it's already a piece of lace was on the handkerchief. Now, what I would do after that has to dry a while, and And as I say, I didn't do the best job for sure, and I'm actually sitting kind of at a strange angle. But I just wanted to show you, this is just one of the things I love to do. I love to write, and I love to, work with sentiments, actually. Kind of sentimental person. And then after that, when I take it off, I'll leave it for just a minute, and then I can pull it off. I've pulled it off. That stuff is sticky. Now you might have a better glue stick too. That's pretty sticky. So then, because it's pretty sheer like that, I would back it with something, and as I showed you on this one where I wrote there, I backed it with some white thin cardstock. On this one, I haven't done anything yet, but I'm going to make a collage with fabric and put different kinds of fabric and lace and so forth on that one. This one, this William Shakespeare one, I have backed that also with cardstock because it helps stabilize it, but also you can see it better. And then I put a couple of little grommet things there, so it looks like it's a label, that one. And this one was a French, from an old French book I have, and I put a stamp there, and then I put Love Adorns because she's adorned with something, and I thought, oh well, let's say love. Bit corny, I know. And then this one I messed up. I'll show it to you anyway. I wrote, "One truth to follow, the path of grace." And that's a quote I got from the internet, from something. But then I edged it with one of my inks, and it was horrible. I think it was called old paper or something. Oh, and I didn't like it. Well, I guess it looks vintage, but I didn't like it. So that was not good. So those are the things I play with sometimes. Now I will, when this is dry and the ink is dry and all that, I'll probably iron it to set it. And sometimes I try and do fancy calligraphy. I have a calligraphy pen that uses calligraphy ink, and I buy that, oh, I forget what it's called, the black ink from the Japanese store. And I haven't tried the nib type, that kind of thing on this. I like to use sort of a ballpoint thing, but I'm going to try that. What else? And then I was going to say, if you're interested in any of that kind of thing, you can get in touch with me. Not that I know what I'm talking about, anyway. But, as I say, just collecting little things that have quotes and verses and pictures, and I've had these for years. I must have had some of these 30, 40 years. I just love looking through them. They remind me of something or someone, the person that gave me so forth, and it's just nice. It's just nice, and it's nice. And unfortunately, I think anyway, these days we just don't have too much of our own handwriting on things. In fact, I heard that they don't even teach it in school anymore here. Don't know if that's universal, and I think that's totally a shame. I remember I had to learn, with the lines, and you had to so far above the line and so far under the line, that kind of thing. And then I did take a calligraphy course, and years ago, and those are more for like lettering or making a monogram or something, the ones I learned. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and here's the book that you'll soon see for sale. It's almost done. It's one of 3 I'm working on, and there is a pocket here, and with a tag in there, and there, as I say, that's where I've put, somewhere here, yeah, there we go, that's where I've put that long Robert Frost poem, which I really like, there. But see, that's kind of nice. It's personal. They know I did it by hand. I didn't use a hot glue gun, or I didn't, just print it off from the internet. I did do this, so that was, a little more personal, little touch. Thanks very much for watching. Goodbye.